Hey there, this is Lauren, owner of Imagined Awakenings, and I am ready to get creative with some resin. So as always, please remember safety first. Always use your safety gear when working with epoxy resin and work in a well ventilated area. All right, now down to business. And this one I had already actually poured my two parts. I had thought that I pressed record and I didn't. Let me tell you how many times that's happened. So usually I warm up each bottle in just some warm room temperature water, and then I pour each part. My resin is a 1-to-1 mixture. Others are different, so be sure to follow the directions on your resin. And then I actually pour part B first and then part A, because it's actually easier to combine them when I pour the thicker part into the more fluid part. It's just easier to stir and usually creates less bubbles. So here I'm just getting into the end of my stirring. I can just tell because it's getting much clearer. And then I also make sure that as I stir, I scrape the bottoms and the sides just to make sure it is fully incorporated. Nobody wants halfway mixed resin. This resin, it says to stir for 5 or 6 minutes. So I always try to follow the manufacturer's recommendations. And I usually just put a timer on, like a microwave or a phone or something, to let me know when the time is up. And then I just check to make sure that it looks fully combined and is ready to go before I start pouring. So in this video, I'm going to be doing something similar. Actually, the same technique that I did last week. I did it with the hamster hands. Maybe I did it with everything. But I really enjoyed that technique, so I wanted to try it again because I felt like the resin was a little thick when I went back and tried to do the swirls. So I felt like everything needed glitter in this one, so I just dumped glitter in the whole entire thing as opposed to separating it out and then adding glitter. And then I'm using an alcohol ink. Who needs a drink? Okay, an alcohol ink technique. And so I'm just pouring clear resin into each mold. And then at some point I realized I had more resin than molds, so I dug out some additional molds to use it all up. Alright, so at this point, I have a little bit of clear left in the container, and I just dropped some drops of white alcohol ink into the container, and I'm just stirring that all up. You want it to still be thick, but like a rich, milky looking texture, so that when you complete the rest of the technique, it actually drops the colors the way you want. So now at this point, I'm just adding the different alcohol ink colors, aside from the white, that I want to incorporate within each piece. Whenever I do like the metallic colors, I always kind of go overboard because sometimes they're really funky about wanting to drop. So I'll put like a ton of gold in there and like 10% of it, no, like 1% of it will drop. So you'll hardly see any gold or metallics in there. So anyway, I'm just going through and adding each color just as I see fit, and then I'll follow up with the white. Okay, so I've gotten all the colors dropped in and it's about that time. So what you do is you just take the clear resin that you mix with the white alcohol ink and you just drizzle it in to each piece on top of the colors. And ideally this should make sort of a cloudy wispy effect. And so you just go over, I mean really there's no like tried and true like way that you have to drizzle it in there. I just try to make sure that a good portion of the colors are covered so that enough white is dropped on that it makes the colors sink or drop as they should, and they will appear more vibrant in the finished piece. So let's see how it goes. Okay, and now that that's all done, it is time to hit it with the heat gun just to help get rid of any bubbles and smooth everything out and all of those wonderful things. So I'm gonna hit it with the heat gun. And then the last video in the tutorial I watched, the gentleman said to come back in an hour and then take your needle or whatever you're using and just kind of make swirls. I missed all that part too, doing that on camera because I thought I pressed record and didn't. So I didn't wait an hour this time because I waited an hour last time and I felt like my resin was too thick. I think I'm just using a different kind of resin than he is. So I came back, I think 30 minutes. I felt like it was still maybe a little thick, but it was much better than the first time I did it. So I came back and took just a tool, like, you know, you can use something, anything thin like a needle or what have you, and just come back and do swirls so that they stay. So here's the pink and copper ashtray. I talked all over that, but that's it. I like the way that turned out, also with the glitter. And then this is the round ashtray that actually broke, and it really hurt all of my feelings. It didn't break here. I dropped it and broke it later. Like, I thought it was so pretty. Yeah, hurt all my feelings. They're still hurt. Okay, so anyway, here is the one of my leaf molds they're still kind of some of my favorites. I wasn't sure how the technique would go in this is the largest piece I had tried it in, I think, so far, but I think I'm gonna try it in a tray. Okay, so anyway, I really love how that one came out. Like, it looks so super fallish, even though fall's not my favorite. The colors are still pretty, and the gold really came through there. Super excited, yay. Okay, so, and then the crescent moon pieces, they're always a favorite. I took those over to a local shop, actually, to sell on consignment, but I'm gonna make some more to sell on the site. Anyway, I think this is the fairy girl, and she's always cute and adorable. If I can ever get her out the mold, that is. So she has like a little star or something in her hand. I'm always trying to be careful not to break it when I'm demolding her, but there she is. I really love the way that one came out. Like, the metallics really came through for me. Of course, I did heavily dropped them in the molds. But anyway, and this one's a little kitty, like my little familiar. Okay, so yeah, that one's super cute too, and I love the colorings in there. I always try to do something with green in there because my youngest is always like, why didn't you make green? Is his favorite color. Okay, so anyway, these were some of the molds I threw in at the last minute when I realized I still had too much resin. So I decided with those that I was going to put together sort of a combo piece that you will see the final results in, like, in 2 videos from now. Sorry to make you wait, maybe. But what I plan on doing is there's actually kind of a base that was sold with the mermaid fins. So I'm going to give those sort of a watery look effect, and then I'm going to use resin to glue the fins on top. See how that goes, right? Love to experiment. It's my favorite. And this is my first time using these incense molds, but I thought it would be fun to give those a try. So I'm bad about buying a mold, really needing, like, I need it right now, and then I don't use it for 6 months. Okay, it wasn't 6 months, but it was a while. So I had these for a while and finally decided to use them. What's funny is I'm kind of intimidated by pieces that don't take a lot of resin. It's kind of silly. I'm just so used to working with kind of bigger pieces now. Anyway, so that's pretty much all I have. I think I've talked on long enough. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe, and I will see you later.